Welcome back. They call themselves the Tennessee 11, regular people who volunteered with Starts With Us, a nonpartisan movement to work to overcome toxic polarization and effectively solve problems. For 3 days last August, the Tennessee 11 met to do the impossible: develop gun legislation that improves public safety and leaves intact Second Amendment rights. They did it. Their next impossible challenge: passage of 5 proposals they developed by the Tennessee legislature.
We live in a time where toxic polarization and our partisan echo chambers make it acceptable to see those who think differently than us not just as wrong, but as evil or dangerous. This is taking a toll on our country, hurting our government's ability to function and damaging our relationships. The good news is that millions of citizens, including the ones in this room and all of you, are committed to charting a better path forward, one that prioritizes problem solving over partisanship and solutions over stalemates. If the Tennessee 11's progress is any indication, then Tennessee is poised to lead the nation in this direction.
My journey to this event is rooted in my deep-seated belief in our constitutional right to bear arms. I've dedicated my life to teaching responsible gun ownership and understanding the profound impact that firearms have on our lives. This past August, I had the opportunity to broaden my perspective and engage in meaningful discussions about firearms laws. I encountered diverse viewpoints, understanding more deeply how these laws variably impact individuals across Tennessee. The takeaways from my experience have been invaluable. I've seen firsthand the dialogue and debates that I've learned. While we may be having different opinions, our common ground is the desire for a safe and free society.
I'm still in awe of being able to connect with the 10 other, then strangers, now colleagues, across the state and dive into rich conversations. The beauty and diversity is that we have different life experiences, different perspectives, and different voices. It takes that, exactly that, to make effective, equitable change for all. And I want lawmakers to do the same thing, work together for the good of Tennesseans.
My stance on guns would be that too many guns are in the hands of the wrong people. We should make it harder for people who shouldn't have guns not able to get them. I believe that the Second Amendment was not written for someone who looks like me. The impact of guns in my life has been tremendously horrible. Losing friends, loved ones, and countless young people in my community to senseless gun violence. The topic is very difficult for me to talk about. I want lawmakers to understand that it is important that legislation they pass is relevant to those of us who are the most affected by gun violence. I believe we can accomplish anything when we work together.
When I hear the words gun rights and safety, I have a vested interest. For myself, responsible gun ownership has allowed my family to connect with one another. Fathers took their sons and daughters hunting, and in doing so shared generational wisdom. But I have to also reconcile the pain that I have witnessed as a mental health professional, having sat with the trauma and the tragedy victims of gun violence face. I believe we possess the capability to have a conversation about inalienable rights and create solutions without having to scapegoat anyone who has the courage to take on their own mental health challenges, or restrict law-abiding citizens from accessing their rights based on the actions of a few.
I'm a part of the Tennessee 11, and I can summarize what I'm thinking about this issue and this group in 4 words. First word is respect. The respect for the First and Second Amendment. That is, we cannot solve this issue by demonizing those precious freedoms. The second word is application. There was a constant talk of applying the laws that we do have rigorously. The third word is creativity. One of the creative ideas that we talked about is actually incentivizing gun safety. The final word is renewal. Now, if I didn't mention this, I wouldn't be a pastor worth my salt. There are some things you cannot solve legislatively. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try, but it does mean that in the end, we need a renewal from one part of our state to the next, a diminishing of anger, a renewal among the people of Tennessee.
I retired from the Tennessee Highway Patrol in April 2022 with 25 years of service as a commissioned officer. For 4 of those years, I served as Major and Lieutenant Colonel, and part of my purview during that time included Tennessee's handgun permit unit. I saw firsthand how a permitting process helps to prevent individuals who should not be carrying handguns from doing so easily. In addition, a stringent permitting process helps our officers, deputies, and troopers know that permitted citizens carrying handguns can do so safely and have received the proper clearances. Politicians can work together to solve tough issues.
I have witnessed the transformative power of conversation, the ability for individuals to lower their guard, listen for understanding, and speak to be understood. I implore you to not only consider the proposed solution, but to embody the spirit of constructive dialogue. I hope you can set aside your differences and recognize that we are truly stronger together. It may sound cliche, but the sentiment holds. Rise above divisiveness and work towards a Tennessee where unity prevails.
My takeaway from the event was and is that it's possible to strike a balance that respects individual rights while implementing sensible measures to prevent gun violence and protect our communities. I would ask lawmakers, come together, set aside partisan differences, and work towards finding common ground on this critical matter.
I am a Second Amendment absolutist with a lifelong relationship to firearms that was instilled in me by my grandfather and then reinforced during my time in service with the 82nd Airborne. But as a mental health worker for the last 18 years, I also understand there's a delicate balance between sensible, responsible ownership and the need for treatment for those dealing with mental health concerns while preserving their Second Amendment rights. And that we all have common wants, needs, and desires for safety, but how we arrive at those may look differently based upon our life experiences. If we're willing to go in and sit down, remain calm, figure out our common ground first, we may find that there's way more we agree on than we disagree on. Unfortunately, today, we tend to enter most every situation already divided into tribes. And that's exactly the opposite of what we did in August, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences that I've had to date.
Stay with us. This Week continues in a moment.